have two meanings. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven. Ooh, it makes me wonder. Ooh, it makes me wonder. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. In my thoughts I have seen rings of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand looking. Ooh, it makes me wonder. Ooh, it makes me wonder. And it's whispered that soon, if we all call a tune, then the piper will lead us to reason, and a new day will dawn for those who stand alone. The forest will echo with laughter. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. And it's wonder. If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a spring clean for the May Queen. Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, and there's still time to change the road you're on. Ooh, it makes me wonder. Oh, 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 oh. The head is humming and it won't go, in case you don't know. The piper's calling you to join him. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know the stairway lies on the whispering wind? As we wind on down the road, our shadows taller than our soul. There walks a lady we all know, who shines white light and wants to show how everything still turns to gold. And if you listen very hard, the tune will come to you at last. When all I want is all, yeah, to be a rock and not to roll. And she's buying a stairway to heaven.
Waters of chaos, they've invaded our space. The flood on earth again, I have to find the whales that once did guide us to the dry lands of life. I won't despair, I'll break this dark ground under heavy sea. I'll search the flight of whales beneath the seas. I searched and had a different view of us on earth, the sinking ship of men. But it's beyond the stars, I found the place where they were, and they finally came to light. Over the winds, they dwell in light, like the arrow in the sky. I found myself on higher grounds from up here, for I see them all the ways in flight. Now I can see the whales looming out of the dark, like arrows in the sky. I can't believe my eyes, but it's true. See Gojira left, big tickets as low as 1,433. You might also like the heaviest matter of the universe. Gojira, l'enfant sauvage. Gojira, too serious. Gojira, huge tunnel empty light, like banks of clouds they gather. See massive shape of flesh, swimming giants in the clear. The light comes to me, I'm on the wing wide open. It teaches me how to fly, slowly moving in the air. Oh, much told with no words at all. Powerful presence for only speech. Breathe. Over the winds, they dwell in light. Fly. the winds, they dwell in light. 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 I see them all the ways in flight. Over the winds, they dwell in light. Fly. Like arrows in the sky, I found myself on higher grounds from up here. For I see them all the ways in flight. Must have lost the game too fast. We don't read between the lines. Got too deep to see the signs. Watch me as my blood runs cold. Now your Bible can take hold. Ooh, you know I'm gone. Ooh, go, I'm on to you now. This side's got a hold on me. Don't try this home for me now. The easy way, the easy way, easy way. I'm on to you now. Ooh, go, I'm on to you now. Ooh, you know I'm gone. Ooh, go, I'm on to you now. There's a shadow just behind me, shrouding every step I take, making every promise empty, pointing every finger at me, waiting like a stalking butler who upon the finger rests. Murder now, the path is must we, just because the sun has come. Jesus, won't you fucking whistle something but the past and done? Jesus, won't you fucking whistle something but the past and done? Done, done. Why can't we not be sober?
I just wanna start this over. Why can't we dream forever? I just wanna start things over. I am just a worthless liar, I am just an imbecile. I will only complicate you, trust in me and fall as well. I will find a center in you, I will chew it up and leave. I will work to elevate you, just enough to bring you down. Mother Mary, won't you whisper something but the past and done? And done. Mother Mary, won't you whisper something but the past and done? Done. And done. Why can't we not be sober? I just wanna start this over. Why can't we dream forever? I just wanna start things over. I am just a worthless liar, I am just an imbecile. I will only complicate you, trust in me and fall as well. I will find a center in you, I will chew it up and leave. I am just a worthless liar, I am just an imbecile. I will only complicate you, trust in me and fall as well. I will find a center in you, I will chew it up and leave. Trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me. Why can't we not be sober? I just wanna start things over. Why can't we sleep forever? I just wanna start this over. I want what I want, I want what I want, I want what I want, I want what I want.
We all came out to Montreux on the Lake Geneva shore.
Welcome, my friends, to XboxEra. If you're new here, let me fill you in. XboxEra is a platform for the Xbox community with best-in-class forums, a kick-ass Discord server, and of course, XboxEra.com, your destination for the best news, reviews, and features, all focused on your favourite platform, Xbox. It's every Xbox fan's gateway to the best of XboxEra. Our incredible podcasts listened to in over 50 countries worldwide, our in-depth reviews, our own merch store for the coolest in gaming threads, and of course Day One, where you can track, rate and discuss your favourite games on Xbox Game Pass. We're a small, agile and independent publication, and importantly, we're completely funded by you. If you value having a publication truly focused on your preferred place to play, you can become one of the cool kids by supporting us directly via Patreon. Just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. You get cool swag and awesome perks, and we get to keep doing what we do. Become a part of the best Xbox community on the internet and help us grow even larger. Thank you for your support. XboxEra is only made possible by the support of an amazing community, and in particular our legendary and growing army of Patreon supporters. Our executive producers, Top, The Scarecrow 121, Peter B, Not Jack, Mohammed Sherez, Kevin S, Korkenstein, Jordan White, Jordan Andau, Frankie C, Terran H, and Britt. Our amazingly generous grand benefactors who take their support and dedication to XboxEra to another level. Krat56 and Assassin. And then there's our boss, our leader, our shining light in times of darkness, the one and only XboxEra CEO, Torn Raptor. You guys are all fucking awesome. If you enjoy the content XboxEra produce and want more of it, and you're not a patron, consider heading over to patreon.com/XboxEra, pledge your support, and get cool swag in return. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of XboxEra Headlines. The date is November 14th, 2024. I'm Sika Mechanico, and today Jesse and I will be taking you through all of the latest in gaming news from across the industry. Obviously, it's worth mentioning for our bonus for our wonderful patrons that we make audio versions of these episodes available to them to listen in the Patreon app. But if you're on Spotify, you can link your accounts and listen to it there instead. If you're not a Patreon member, well, you can still see the padlock on the episodes, but then you just head to patreon.com/XboxEra and sign up and support a brilliant team of awesome people and become part of this amazing community. So, you know, it's a win-win all around. Hi, Jesse. How are you?
A little tired. Pretty good otherwise. Yeah, it's one of those can't say things, but did you know that if you go to a patreon.com/XboxEra/gift,
What?
you can actually do gifted memberships now. As far as I know, the way it works, you choose the tier and the amount of gifted subs you want to give. That creates a link that people can then go and redeem them at. It's a very smart way for something that isn't tied to like user login stuff like YouTube or whatnot. Speaking of Patreon, our executive producer, Mr. Frank C. Hi, Frank.
Frankie C.
If you're on Blue
Absolute
Sky,
legends.
by the way, little Patreon perk, any MVPs or above, just let me know what your Blue Sky is, and I'll add you to the XboxEra starter pack.
Yeah. It's cool. I it's nice having a new place to indulge in. We're not leaving Twitter.
No.
We're just it's a little bit nicer over there. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, when I read things, I like read
And there's
jokes and funny stuff. And
Already better engagement. Like Twitter's engagement turned into, I don't like this story, so I'm going to insult you. That's like 99% of it. Also, it does not get clicks. It's crazy. Like, it gets some, but if you post a story, if we have a good story, like I posted the Xbox sale on Reddit, and it got like 3,000 clicks there, and it was on Twitter, and it got like 100. Like, people are just not that huge on using the Twitter lately, and I for one will not be sad to see it go if Blue Sky can keep this momentum up. I think with the upcoming Grok AI scraping changes, creatives...
Yes, tonight at midnight. Tomorrow night at midnight.
Yeah.
Or is it tonight at midnight? I can't remember. As it ticks over into
very
the 15th.
soon. So if you ever post anything, your own pictures of your dog, your kids, your artwork you do, anything you've made, music, video, it all gets to be scraped by Twitter. That is their new thing. That means they just...
Gross.
They have it. They own it. And their Grok, which doesn't give a shit about corporate logos and will just make whatever you want, will then do that with your stuff. And the only way to stop it is to either delete or private your account, essentially. And then you got to run a script on a private account. And I bet you they eventually make that not work either. So, yay. But we're not here to talk
It's
Grok.
gross.
We're here to talk video
No.
games.
We are here to talk video games, and there's quite a bit to talk about. But obviously, you know, we're branded XboxEra. Headlines is a platform agnostic show, much like the Xbox itself. Am I right, folks? Lots to talk about, and I think, you know, I've just chucked it into the showrunner, Jesse, because I just saw it's been released on Xbox Wire. I'm going to kick off with this and then lead it into this is obviously why Phil Spencer was appearing all over the place doing a little interview tour, and I feel like these things are intrinsically linked. Xbox Wire has just launched, or Xbox as a team have just launched a new promotional campaign, which we're seeing everywhere now, or we're going to be, called This is an Xbox. And it's basically talking about being defined by player choice, where people can play their games on whatever device and screen and whatever. how long until they do one of these ads with? I don't know if you there's a trailer you can show. Um, they're just showing like a phone. This is a phone, but it's also this is an Xbox. You know, this is an Xbox for your lap, and they're showing a laptop. When are they going to show a PlayStation and say this is an Xbox? Because I bet you they won't.
Yeah, normally
It's-
with marketing, you need to be co-marketing. I bet you
Yeah.
they can get it with. I bet you they'll get it with like Nintendo at some point. I'd be surprised if they ever got it with PlayStation.
Yeah, it is interesting though. I mean, like, this is it. Xbox fans, buckle up. All right, if you're a hardcore Xbox, you know this is the time where you hold on to your pants because this is mask off. This is out and out. Here's the new agenda, people. Like it or lump it.
This is the old agenda pushed more in people's faces.
This is the agenda fully realized and now being communicated in the open, you know, not subtly hinted at, not let's talk about the vagueness of the words. This is we're everywhere and we're quite proud of it actually. I don't hate this campaign. I'm just like we're literally learning about this right now. I'm reading through this and ad-libbing as we go. I'm not against this because it is telling people, hey, the thing you got in your pocket, you can play these games. The thing you use for work, you can stream those games. I quite like it. You know, like I don't hate this at all. I mean, what does the chat think? Let us know. Super chats are open. But what's your opinion, Jess? What's your take? Do you think this is the death knell for the Xbox brand, or do you think this is quite savvy of them?
I mean, the Xbox brand is the ecosystem and the platform.
It's this.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, the only thing we're seeing with consoles is them slowing down or stagnating. Like, it's just not going to be the main focus of anyone outside of Nintendo. Nintendo is the unicorn that gets to go where they want. Like, PlayStation's getting closer and closer to day and date. Once they have their own launcher, I think they would be. Until they have their own launcher, probably not. And they kind of struggle sometimes with the cross buy and cross save stuff. So once they have that figured out and set up, I think both companies are going to be that. Microsoft's going to be way more into it. You're not going to see there's no red line for us on PlayStation because their entire thing has been the prestige of owning their hardware like it's something amazing and special when you know, it is just now another type of PC. It's not anything like super unique. You can get SSDs a lot faster than theirs for pretty cheap. Let me get this poll up. I mean, it's just it's going to be a huge talking point among the angrier, griftery audience, and it'll be A versus B and angry, and it's like, as long as they just keep making hardware and they keep putting out games, which, again, I keep hearing every time I watch other shows and stuff, the industry at large, like the proper journalism, or more games media side, not journalism so much, the games media side, still acts like they haven't put anything out. And it's weird. I don't know what they can do other than they haven't put out the right genres, I guess. Yeah. Like that's what it always ends up feeling like. So
they haven't put out the things that they want to play, which is ridiculous. But I don't know, man. Like, I think this is pretty ballsy. You know, and they're showing these adverts everywhere, talking about the Samsung partnership, and some of it they're having fun with. You know, this is an Xbox. A picture of an egg box. Like, it's whoever came up with it. I mean, from a marketing perspective, it's pretty good. Like
Craig McNary wrote this blog post.
Well, Craig, it's pretty cool, man. I'm down with
not
this.
Greg. Wait,
no,
was it Craig?
Craig.
Damn it, it was
Craig. We say over here, not Craig.
Well, no,
Craig.
When it's Greg, it's Greg. When it's Craig, it's Craig.
Nah,
Craig.
It's Craig.
Greg.
In the UK, it's Craig.
No one cares about the UK though. You guys aren't the superpower you used to be.
Fifth largest
We're on
economy
our
in
way.
the world, baby.
Texas has a larger economy than most countries. Like, America's just too big. It's annoying.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, interesting.
It is interesting. And obviously, this new campaign coincides with Phil Spencer doing the interview tour yesterday and getting quite a few folks panties in a twist. And there's a bit to talk about here, right? He did an interview with is it Dina Bass, Bloomberg, and one with Stephen Tortillo over at GameFile. I like Stephen Tortillo's a little bit better, but Dina's was fine. I noticed that none of them were like direct interview based. We talked about stuff, and then there's cherry picked like excerpts of things he said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a new stipulation from PR, like because I much prefer it when it's a genuine back and forth, but that's just me. No red lines. I mean, I just want to take a step back from this sentence for a minute. Didn't they also use the phrase case by case basis previously?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't these the same thing?
Yes.
Is it just because no red lines means it can include Halo, and it can include Forza, and it can include
and it's funny because the no red lines was from May, when Jez put it out there, and then everyone reported it. Maybe it was told directly by Phil because it's literally the exact same line. It's definitely somebody who knew what their marketing speak was going to be. It is anything can, not anything will. It's a case by case basis of what do they think is going to be worth making a port, who is going to make a port. Like, those are the two things. Like, is it worth doing? Will it hurt our platform to move this over in some way? I think that's less. I think it's more, how much is it going to cost? How much do we expect to make? And do we have someone to make it? Because that's one of the main things, like, that's one of the main problems, like Square and so many others. It is, who's going to do these ports? Because the Naughty Dog insisted on doing the Last of Us PC port. And it didn't work out great. And so now it's become this, well, we bought Nixxes, and I think Nixxes might have been before that, but they bought Nixxes to keep doing ports.
Yeah,
because you need someone. And otherwise you are paying people, like they did with the first 4, where they had to pay people that were overseen by the main studio. So it's like they're not free. So the games have to make sense.
Yeah.
With something like Doom: The Dark Ages, Doom has always just been everywhere, and the team wanted it to be on PlayStation. So they were allowed to just say, yep, we can do it ourselves, and it makes sense for us. And so they did it. And from there on, it's going to be, I think, more as we go forward, but it'll be a little while before it's anywhere close to everything.
Yeah. I think this is going to be let's wait until it makes sense. And I think considering they're going to continue doing hardware, and we'll talk about that in a second, they're going to continue doing hardware. It does not make sense to launch hardware without exclusives, even if they're timed exclusives that you own, that you might port to another platform a year down the line. Like, they've still got to follow some of the trends of this industry as it has been for the last 20 years. But the reality is, as we've said on this show before, as we've seen over the last 18 months, this constant, this studio's closed, these people have all been fired, there's not enough money coming in, this game's flopped and it cost this company 400 million. Oh, they're closed now too. It keeps happening. And what's the definition of insanity? Right? Repeating the same things over and over and over and expecting different results. The industry is changing, and this is one of those changes. Now, I ask people, and there'll be a opinion piece coming out from me later on today about this, but like, what does it do to you? What's the worry that other people get to play Halo or Gears or Forza on a different device? What's the concern? And the predominant feedback I get is, I'm worried about my hardware going away. And I'm like, okay, but they've said it's not. So now what?
The strategy they have is having their store more places. And one of their biggest moneymakers is Game Pass, and that literally only works on their own stores. They can't just put that other places. They could have a first party only one if they wanted to, but that means you then must always port all first party or it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And they have a ton of first party, so it could be a really good sub service compared to something like Ubisoft Plus. But I mean, or even EA Play, like they put out way more than those companies do. But that also means you then must have like, oh, I want to have this on Nintendo and PlayStation. That means I'm making a Nintendo, a PlayStation, an Xbox, a Steam, and a Windows PC version of every game, no matter what. That's just a ridiculously big commitment, and then it can only be those, whereas Game Pass's big thing is it's just a ridiculous amount of third parties, and you can't put those third parties in it on other platforms. So they always need their own platform.
Like, why am I doing that?
Yeah, they always need their own platforms. They will always have the Microsoft Store and PC, and they will always want to have consoles until the day consoles completely die, which they won't because they know people are pretty locked in. It's really hard to yoink them away.
And you know, other feedback I've heard on that is so they're taking that user base for granted. And this is one element where I kind of understand some of the cross angles, because I feel like to a degree the parasocial relationships that formed between Xbox execs and its user base, its fandom, are unlike anything on the other side of either other platform holder. And Xbox fans genuinely saw all this acquisition movement and studio purchasing happening. We're like, yes, this is it. We get to stick it to them in the list wars. And now it's not working out that way at all. And they feel let down personally. And I would just invite you to remember that relationship you think you have with, you know, Phil or Sarah Bond or Aaron Greenberg or whoever isn't actually real.
No.
It's a product of the social media world in which we live, but it's not a real, you know, hey, we're friends. It's not a real thing.
Yeah, to a much smaller degree, I've run into it, and we've run into it with Patreon, where people are like, "You and Nick, Nick's super mean, or Jesse's mean to Nick, and so I quit. I can't support this." And then Nick and I are just laughing at each other because it's like we are friends who know each other, and we're just joking, like taking the piss out of each other, like. But you get that at a way higher level when you're as powerful and famous and as front-facing as their executive teams have been.
Yeah, and you know, when it comes to hardware from Microsoft, I look at the Xbox console going forward as kind of like the Surface line is to Windows. This is their flagship product to play their software on and to utilize the best of their software. Now, whether you can take that as a good or bad thing, I've had some good Surface products. I've had some bad Surface products, right?
Mm-hmm.
But hardware is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So I think once we put that fear to rest and kind of acclimate to this new way of doing things, what I do think it's going to do is open up the doors for healthier, bigger, more interesting games. And that, as for me, as a person who loves to play video games, that's where I get really excited. Do I want to play a world where Halo has the opportunity, because it's not just on one platform anymore, but on multiple platforms, including PlayStation and Switch, where Halo could be a big deal again in terms of the multiplayer population? Yeah, I want to live in that world. You know, like, why wouldn't I?
Even from the other way, like
good things.
You see Astro Bot, it did 1.5 million, and people are disappointed because the bigger games on that platform do 10 million. And it's like, for that genre and that type of game, if it had been everywhere, it could have done 4-5 million. Like, it could have done way more. But they're not in. They've never been in that mindset. But
that's why
they're slowly moving. They will very slowly move there. But Microsoft's already like, why wouldn't we just make all this extra money if it doesn't hurt us overall?
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of new hardware, one of the other things that Phil Spencer spoke about in detail was about the Xbox handheld, confirming that, we're probably going to do something in that space. There's prototyping going on, but it's a couple of years out. Now, I am still firmly on Team 2026. I feel like that's the right time. But again, it's further affirmation that, yes, we're making a handheld, and it's not vague this time. It's yes, we're making a handheld.
Mm-hmm. It had been I want to before.
Yeah.
So going from
Now
I
it's
want
like,
to
yeah,
to we're
it's a few years
prototyping
out.
feels like we think we might have this figured out on when we can do it.
Yeah, I
'Cause,
wonder if they're going to
man,
utilize some of the technology that they built. Where the game was being streamed from the cloud in terms of like some of the processing side of things, and then extra graphical fidelity was being streamed in to make it look prettier than the native device could actually run. I can't remember which way round it was, whether it was the engine was running here and the graphical
it was
fidelity was
pushing
here on
off
the
some compute to the cloud.
yeah. Either way, it was
Especially like,
working in
yeah,
conjunction.
I think that would have to be a per game thing. I can't imagine you could. It would have to be built in to the game itself. I can't imagine it will work otherwise. But I would say no, probably not, because people want their local compute for a handheld which needs to work entirely offline.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just wondering if you can like soup things up.
Yeah,
Like if you're wide, if you're docked, it does this special codec thing.
I mean, yeah,
where
that is flight sim. You can play it offline, or you can stream in assets that just look way better.
yeah. I mean, let's have a look at what some of the folks in the chat are saying.
And more for the stream box, they couldn't get the price down to something they thought people would actually pay for. So they had the hardware they wanted, but they couldn't get it cheap enough for it to make sense as a public-facing product. So I'm gonna end the poll, and we have a super chat.
Oh well, let's dive into that then. In terms of the poll, what do we think of this new? This is an Xbox marketing campaign from Microsoft. It's firmly in the love it camp, 64%. 23% feel empty inside, and 12% hate it. But that's a small dropping of the community with only like 56 votes.
Yeah.
Reservoir Doug's drops a $10 super chat and says, "Looking slick, lads. Thank you very much. We do have the best looking podcasts in the biz."
Thank you,
to this
Pre-Drag.
guy.
Oh, and me.
This guy. I was working out my camera direction there. I wasn't pointing it.
So I get the layouts. I do all the layouts and figure all the other things out, but all the actual like nice graphics are Pre-Drag. So thank you, Pre-Drag.
Yeah, that too. But there's people here like, let's have a look. NC says, "Seems like they'll be late to the game. The Steam Deck and the Switch 2 will be ingrained and have a better sales pitch." Interesting. Yeah, will they?
No, the Steam Deck's a pain in the ass
Is the Switch 2
to
going to
use.
play everything else?
It's really funny. So when it comes to the Steam Deck, people are like, it's the most console-like experience. It breaks on me all the time. I've had to completely rebuild the UI 3 times. And you're playing PC games, which can often have terrible controller support. So like it's the Steam Deck verified games, will be all right. Everything else is a crapshoot. You never know. Its niche is being a console. Consoles work, and they work the way most gamers are used to for the console audience. Like it is its own thing. In the Switch 2, again, the Switch is always off in its own thing. Like the Switch is fine as a complementary console. The PlayStation or Xbox is normally the main one, and I have a Switch because the Switch is just unique. Nintendo's been around forever. They have more games in the works than anyone at all times. I think Microsoft might catch up to them now, but only because they have so many goddamn studios. But yeah, the Switch 2 will always be complementary to either an Xbox or a PlayStation for people. So I think it's just, if there's an Xbox handheld as an option, especially if it could ever do the PC stuff, it would be a very tempting thing for people that are into that handheld market.
Yeah.
If it could do everything PC as well as console, that'd be ridiculous. But who knows? That's
the rub. That's the rub, right? I play with my ROG Ally, and I love it when it all is seamless and just works, right? And Microsoft, Phil talked about this. The Xbox app's good, but it's not great, and it needs to be better. But the experience, the biggest problem of these handhelds, the Windows-based one, is Windows. It gets in the way of everything constantly. It's a fiddly thing to use. But the handheld experience itself is good. Where it gets frustrating is where I hit those invisible barriers of platform separation, where I'm like, I want to play this game. It's not play anywhere. Sorry, you have to have a different file and different save point. I want to play this game. You can't do that. We have to load this app up, and you have to have this launcher. And the idea of having this device that can kind of be this catch-all and run all these different things and play with all these different toys and support them and just be awesome. This is where Xbox needs to land whatever they're going to launch with in a couple of years' time. Like, this is what I want to see. But it's all to play for, I think. I think it's going to be a rough journey for them because the industry is I saw Games Radar. There's not much point in even owning an Xbox nowadays, but if you want one, it's like, what the fuck?
It's
Like, that's
the old
opinion
school.
wedged into the news. Like,
Well, I mean,
tell the news.
they're owned by Future, and Future's thing, like they own PC Gamer and all that. We know what Future's thing is. It is about you have engagement quote. I would estimate you probably have engagement quotas, and if you don't hit them, then Future has you do layoffs like they have been. So they do that. They write those opinions into the news because they are desperate to not have to fire people and to make money. That would be my guess.
Yeah. And JB1521 calling out an interesting fact in the chat. All of the higher end handhelds, so all of your Steam Decks and your ROG Allies and your Lenovo Legion Go's have all done something like 10 million or less in terms of sales of units, right?
Yeah.
Is it setting the world on fire? No.
It's a growing market. It's not a big or settled one. And again, the difference in what you're going for compared to who's already there, you are an established, normally 50 plus million selling console, and nothing in that market is anywhere near you. Like, they don't have your hardware user base. I think Steam can eventually get there. They will always have the problem of Linux versus Windows and compatibility on stuff. It's getting better and better, but there are still, I know Flight Sim didn't work on Steam Deck because of anti-cheat measures, because it's an always online game and they don't want people hacking in paid DLC and stuff like that, I would imagine.
Didn't we see Apex Legends remove the ability to be played on the Steam Deck because they just didn't want to deal with the low security or bad security from the Linux operating system? Something to that, like, paraphrasing, don't want to misspeak, but they've stopped supporting. They're like, yeah, we're not going to support that device anymore because it's just a crapshoot on there. I'm sure I saw something like that.
Hey, look.
Anyway,
for once, Square's actually given us a key. I mean, it's really late because reviews have been out for days, but I can give this to Cengiz now. At some point, you'll get a Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake review from Cengiz.
Thanks, Square. It's worth saying that there is a whole, if you want to evangelize Microsoft's new messaging with this is an Xbox and this is not an Xbox gear, you can do so by heading to the Xbox Gear shop and picking up a t-shirt or a hoodie to advertise on their behalf.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'll pass. I'll pass.
These are my X socks.
There's even a quiz. You can even take a quiz. You can take the official this is an Xbox quiz. And the URL doesn't work on their own official.
Mm-hmm. Well, so many people wanted to take that quiz, it immediately just crashed all of Azure.
Oh dear. I wonder if it's a US only one and they've just forgotten that the UK exists. I'm just checking. And the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
So when no, it's completely down.
Well, there you go. Yeah, see, it's too popular. It will be funny. This is going to be that meme. It's going to be, why does an Xbox do more marketing? And then everyone's going to go, no, not like this.
Not like this. Yeah, for sure. What else did Phil say? More acquisitions are on the table.
Obviously not ABK size, because there's like a couple of those left, and they would not get that through regulations. They might, maybe in the US, it'd be no problem. You grease the right red palms, but in the EU and the UK, probably not. I mean, it's not like Starmer's great, but people don't like him.
No one likes any politician.
No, it's been rough.
It's bad times. I think single studios, privately held companies that aren't public are things that they may go and buy.
Mm-hmm. I think everyone's favorite targets would be Crystal Dynamics and Square Eidos.
Yes.
Or Eidos Montreal, whatever they're called. Yeah.
Yeah. And they've already got a hub in Montreal with there's already a hub in Montreal where they've already got a studio there with Compulsion Games. So it makes sense. But yeah, like I don't know, man. I think Xbox here are gearing up to begin the positively messaged assault of how to frame this stuff, and you can tell that this has been like how do we communicate this to the audience without freaking them out, or at least communicate in a way where everyone kind of understands what we're saying and why. And I feel like this is pretty smart. It's definitely you're gonna see the grifty YouTubers making a big meal out of it.
Oh yeah,
but
this and what Phil has said will power discussion for a week. So if you're not into it, I would just avoid it. Probably avoid Nick. I have no idea how
Nick's
Nick
going to be great fun on the show this weekend, isn't he? It's going to be great fun.
You never know. Sometimes, like, he wants them to do more marketing, and this is more marketing. And I wouldn't be shocked if they have a plan around indie to ramp it up. Because whenever you work with Disney, you have to do a lot of marketing. Like, Sony spends an insane amount on Spider-Man, including doing all the special consoles, which they had to give, like, almost half of what they made to Disney. Like, you do a deal with Disney, they grab you by your ghoulies, and they don't let go. They are very cognizant of how important their IPs are, and how much money they can potentially make. So they don't let you have them easily.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's all. No one has said it's all grifting, Mort. We're talking about the grifters.
Yeah.
We're having a normal discussion now, where the legitimate concerns are.
Yes.
What does it mean for future hardware? So
That's
either
a legitimate concern.
You take them at their words, which are they're already working on it, but you only ever take corporations at their words yay far. Now, fans want to take it all the way. You should take it like that. You take their words to mean this is what they want you to think, and then you take their actions all the way. What do they actually do?
Yeah. I mean, when I use the phrase grifting, I'm talking about explicitly selling you rage, selling you anger to make you angry, and being vitriolic. And there's no discussion being
and it goes
had.
both
It's just
ways.
be mad about this.
Too. It's not
that's grifting.
It's not also just be angry. It's also don't you dare be angry at this. Only be angry at that.
Yes.
And it can be don't be angry at Xbox. Only be angry at everyone else. That is also a thing. It's less pervasive, but it's still there, and they can all piss off.
Positive grifting and negative emotion.
And it's not even positive. It's only be negative about this. Don't be negative about that. And that really is. It's a both sides thing, because people do it about everything. They'll say, why are you negative about this? Only be negative about that, about anything, so that they can pull those fans in that love it and pull those fans in that hate it. Yeah. And vice versa. Like,
whereas we like to have like a genuine, like, hey, what's I wonder what this is gonna
outside
mean,
of Nick.
Outside of Nick.
He surprises me sometimes, though.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out on Saturday. But it's an interesting step for Microsoft, but this is definitely mask off. The ambition is now marketively out in the open in terms of what their new product messaging is going to be.
Yeah, instead of just being Sarah saying every screen is an Xbox during a talk or something, it is we are pushing this out in front of everyone as much as we can. Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. It is interesting. Anyway, here's a little leaky loo. I think this is probably posted too early by someone. And hopefully you're paying attention to the next thing.
I am, but hold on. I've got to change up text.
There's a little trailer that's come out. It's only got 170 views, so maybe it was posted too soon.
Seepshul. Gotta fix this. Boop, boop.
But Avowed is getting a very fancy looking special edition.
Tell them I want it.
Including a map and everything. And here it is for you on the videos. I mean, you're looking forward to this. This looks fancy, right? Is that a mouse mat with the map?
It's playing right now. You'll be able to see it in 20 seconds, but everyone else would be seeing it all together. So this definitely seems like it went up early, and I'm sure Obsidian will be annoyed. So this is Xbox Taiwan that has posted this. That looks real nice.
It's interesting. Phil mentioned Avowed in his interview, and it was talking about It wasn't, you know, giving it more time because it needed more time. You know, Obsidian will use the time for extra polish and stuff, but the game is ready. But it was more about spacing out their Game Pass releases, as we've discussed on this show. And you know, there was a joke about, well, February's pretty packed now, and I think Phil made a reference
Yeah,
with
they
Steven
need to.
Totilo about, you know, dodging out of some of our third party partners' ways, and you know, or better working with them in terms of schedules. But that's a nice looking special edition for Avowed. Like,
the most they can do as a publisher is generally they can only set their own stuff. And once Stalker 2 got knocked back exactly where Avowed was going to be, that's when they were like, okay, we'll give. So for them, their main metric on Game Pass is how many hours are people going to play it. And that's why you'll see not too long in the sense of they don't want too many big things at once because they'll all get swallowed up. So that's why the Call of Duty is just swallowing up everything. So for other people not into Call of Duty, it sucks, but Call of Duty swallows up all the Game Pass playtime that they're expecting people to do. So they try and spread it out. Avowed goes to February. Avowed's still like one of the only things in February we know of for Game Pass for sure, of any decent size. There are a lot of other big games, but for them, I think their release strategy will be avoid the Uber releases like GTA. Like that is just a generational release. You give that its month space. But for everything else, we are basing our decisions on our releases into Game Pass. So it will be interesting if they have like, you got February, you've got Avowed, got something we're going to talk about in a little bit that is got a firm March date from a third-party partner who's all over Game Pass. And then if South of Midnight's like April or May, and then you've got Doom, and you've got, it just keeps going on and on all freaking year. And then you've got indie hitting PlayStation. Oh, but yeah, there's I think for the average consumer, there's way too much. For us, there can never be too much, except for there is, because it gets really hard to cover all of it for us specifically. But for the hardcore audience who are like Mort, who aren't full of FOMO and who will wait for stuff, it's like, yeah, I have enough games to last me a year, and they just keep adding on more, and it's great because I can just always have something I want to play.
Yeah, I have to admit, like, as someone who, you know, I love all sorts of games. Like, people, I've said this before, but people banged on about how great 2023 was for them. And yet I found 2023 personally kind of like, there wasn't a lot that I really, really loved. But this year I've had a great time. I've played a lot of really great games. And next year looks to be absolutely nuts for me personally in terms of things I enjoy. So it's good. It's a good time. But there you go, special edition for Avowed. I'm sure we'll hear more on that in an official marketing beat that hasn't been accidentally posted by Xbox Taiwan, who only have 8,000. We have more subscribers than Xbox Taiwan. Go figure. But that's cool. It's cool to see that. Next up in the news, ZeniMax union workers strike in protest for one day. This was, I think, yesterday they were on strike.
Yep.
Due to Microsoft's remote work and outsourcing policies.
Trying to tell, doing the corporate thing of return to office for no reason other than to control people. And contracting out QA work instead of using in-house QA work.
Yeah.
I think those are some of the main things, and I wish them all the best because that is... especially on the day Phil is, as part of his interview, was like, yeah, our division is super healthy. We're doing great. And everyone will point back and say, yeah, because you just fired a ridiculous amount of people. Like, you were doing fine before. It's doing great isn't we make more than enough money to survive. Doing great is we are making investors happy. So
I hate that.
And we should never give a shit about that outside of, yes, I understand these products only exist because these corporations exist, but these corporations could exist and make $25 billion in a quarter. They could make 20, and they could hand some money out to other people instead of a single executive like Satya getting 70 million or whatever the hell he got. Like, no one needs that much money. But everyone wants
Yeah.
that much money, so they hope it's going to be done
It's
someday.
it's interesting, you know, they're running around with banners holding Microsoft runs on trust crossed out and then outsourcing. And, you know, we've seen the outsourcing comments. And I think it's one area that Microsoft, comparatively to perhaps other studios in the first party platform holder space, don't get me wrong, they all do it. But Microsoft especially seems to do it to the
They
detriment.
didn't used to, and we
of
were
their
used to
games.
them having actual support you could talk to, and then
Yeah.
it became support bots or outsourced, and very
No,
obviously
I'm
people.
talking about game development outsourcing. Like all game developers outsource stuff. Right?
Oh, yeah,
All
yeah,
studios
that
do
part.
it. But Microsoft in particular, you know, we've heard the stories from 343, now Halo Studios, in terms of the onboarding problems with outsourcing too many people. And what they're cross about here, these union workers, you know, reading through Chengiz's article on our website, is, you know, their own job security kind of feels threatened. You know,
Well,
they're not bargaining in good faith, and they're utilizing outsourcing to do the jobs that these guys could do, and then
Yeah.
firing people
and a lot of that
to save
was
money.
community support too, across so
There's
many.
lots of that, yeah.
Like across, it happened with Bungie. Like so many studios just lost their community support teams, and it all became outsourced or doesn't exist anymore, or as a chat bot. And it's like, there are things chatbots are useful for. A chatbot helping you look up when your order is coming, that type of thing. But having a problem with an order or anything like that, most chatbots are going to suck if it's anything complicated, and you need to have an actual team behind your chatbots that isn't some group in another country who are only tier 1 and thus can only do the most basic shit. Otherwise, they're like, sorry, can't help you. And that is what drives people crazy. And then, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just getting worse.
I'm just seeing in the chat, you know, Didact saying the Halo Studios thing, isn't that Washington's laws? So I used to work for a company that dealt with software to specifically hire and outsource labor. So it's just used to be called contingent labor programs, and Microsoft were a client of that company. So we're Activision and, you know, lots of others. So, and what I would say to you is that most countries, I think, including the United States, have what's called a tenure law. I think we have it over here, but it's referred to as IR35 here in the UK. God, I'm plucking stuff out of my brain from a year and a half ago. But nutshell is, if you're going to outsource to someone and it goes over like 18 months, well, then make them a full-time employee. And they don't want to do that, right? So what's happening is that timeline will hit, and then that's it, they're out. And that's bad. Because especially when it comes to making games, it's a complicated art. And with you've got bad tools, or at least significantly difficult to learn and use tools that aren't the norm for the rest of the industry, which is perhaps why we're seeing the switch to Unreal Engine. It's causing this big knock-on effect. Whereas it seems to me, at least outwardly, that whilst there are other companies that do all the outsourcing, they have their core studio team is permanent hires. You know, they haven't got people that are just contracted core studio a lot of the time. There's always a ramp up and ramp down as projects like come to a close, and they start prototyping again before they go into full production. Then they ramp up again. But Microsoft especially seem to be pretty guilty of that. So I understand the striking here, especially considering how many people were fired this year. Yeah, I saw a great comment from Stukebrud saying, hey, we should play the this is an Xbox quiz. I can't get it to show up on my end. I don't know if you can, Jesse.
Oh, sure.
He said to make sure it says EN-US in the URL, because that's the Xbox for you. It's America only.
Yeah,
But I can't even get it to show up. It works for you? Great. You can display it. We can do the quiz together. It'll be fun. We'll do it at the end of the show.
Oh, end of the show. Okay.
End of the show. End of the show. We'll save it.
End of the show.
If we've got time. Yeah. Trav's favorite.
I mean, we always have time. It's just up to you and how annoying your kids are.
Yeah. Well, it's 4:00 for me. Well, I can probably give it like 10 minutes. Anyways, next up in news, and it's a very Microsoft-focused show today. Warcraft 1 and 2 are getting remasters alongside an improved 3, and Warcraft Rumble is coming to PC. Those were all available yesterday, I believe.
I don't know when
think they
Warcraft
referred to
Rumble's
it-
coming. I think that was December, but the Warcraft
everything else.
the Warcraft 1 and 2 graphical remasters and the Warcraft 3 Reforged fix patch are available now and are $40 only on Battle.net. No clue why they're not in Game Pass. Maybe they're just in a
It's still taking them some time to connect these things and stitch them together, isn't it?
I mean, it's already made. It would take 2 seconds. You just have to, I say it would take 2 seconds. The Battle.net extension is already there. That should be all you need. But yeah, Rumble PC is December. 1 and 2 graphical updates. I mean, they're still the same games. They're missing a lot. It's, I think, a more nostalgia play. The big fix, 2 is better than 1 to go back to now. The big fix was Reforged, getting a lot of the things that they had promised and looking better. And it's for big Warcraft fans, I think $40 probably it's fine, I guess. I don't know. But if you already had Reforged, it should be a lot better, which will make a lot of people happier. And hopefully somebody that actually can get answers from Microsoft is able to ask them about Game Pass. Because it'd be neat if it was on there for people. It's almost like a mini BlizzCon. They also talked about the next World of Warcraft, and it's bringing in player housing, which is insane. That's something people had wanted for over a decade.
Wow.
And yes, Svika Brut is with me. 1 isn't worth going back to. It's very old. But 2's good. And it's campaigns, so.
Indeed. So there you go. And that's that. Go check them out if you're intrigued. Next up, we have Atomfall, which is Rebellion's other game that isn't Sniper Elite that's being released onto Game Pass, getting a firm date with a release date trailer featuring an eerie 1940s, 50s red phone box. From
It was
the UK.
a custom-made song for that trailer, too.
Wow. Phone release date, 27th of March.
And freaking YouTube
2025.
crashed again, so I better... Yep, we immediately lost 25 people. They need to fix that with YouTube. Just every once in a while, YouTube will crash.
Yeah, it does it for me
It says
sometimes too.
out of memory. And then the viewer count just goes... Because anyone on PC is... It doesn't matter what browser I use, too. I can use Edge, Chrome, Firefox. They all crash. But,
Very odd. But
This
yeah,
game-
so if you're intrigued,
yeah.
I think you're looking forward to this one, right?
So
this is
this is Atomfall is not Sniper Elite. It's not Zombie Army. Zombie Army super arcadey, shooty, have a lot of fun co-op. Sniper Elite, slower paced, trying to not be noticed. All these various things, single player or co-op, but focused mostly on sniping. Atomfall, much more like a Rebellion take on the lightest survival-y Fallout-y thing. So not a full-on RPG like Fallout, not a resource gathering game like most survival games, but it was slower paced. Everything felt heavy and impactful, and decisions and choices really mattered. It looked amazing on the PCs they were running it on. Played well, but yeah, it wasn't like running gun or super fast. I definitely felt like I needed to build my guy up before I could even try that.
Game.
Yeah, it's a methodical start. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a little crazy as you go through. Also, some Wicker Man vibes. But yeah, I'm very looking forward to this game. It'll be nice because they have Sniper Elite Resistance coming out late January, which is like a little offshoot of Sniper Elite into Game Pass Day 1. And then 2 months later, almost to the day, Atomfall Day 1 Game Pass. I'm quite looking forward to it.
I have to admit, like, it's pretty, but not in a. I don't know. It feels like really detailed. Like Rebellion's engine. This, and bear in mind, this is releasing on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. I think.
Yeah, it's
I don't
everywhere.
know, is it exclusive or is it
No, it's
Game Pass exclusive?
It's in Game Pass, but they don't do exclusive.
Yeah, so it's releasing on last gen machines. But
And somebody actually
it
got to
looks-
capture their friggin' demo. It's only 1080p.
What, the one that they released.
No, when I played at Gamescom.
Oh, okay.
So this was maybe they released a demo, but Yeah, so this is like the actual game, and there is crafting and stuff in it, but it's not like huge resource gathering. It's interesting as someone that's looking forward to reviewing Stalker. It feels more in that side of shooters, but also with heavy melee focus, where a Stalker, it's just your knife normally. Yeah, big ass friggin' cricket bat just hitting weirdos in We Happy Few style masks. Like it's a also it was very good looking natively. So this low bit rate 1080p video isn't gonna show, but it looks nice. Like it was a very nice looking game. It was also on a really good monitor when I was playing it. This is from, let's see, Game Riot. I will give you a like, Game Riot. But yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it.
He follows us on Twitter.
Yeah, you gotta like him.
Yeah. He's got like 1.13 million subscribers.
Yeah, they're big.
Fine.
They big.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? Sorry. I was,
Biggest news of the day.
Multitasking. Is this the biggest news of the day? IHOP are partnering with Xbox for a new drinking glass collab with Xbox themed menu and merch.
There's also like
America.
their typical single console that you can try and win.
Of course. Yes, the
Most
IHOP
likely.
blue drizzled maple syrup style.
Kind of looks. It doesn't look bad. Weird. It's kind of koomy, but But yeah, the big thing are the drinking glasses that I really do actually kind of want.
Yeah.
They are the type of glasses you used to get at restaurants back in like the 80s and 90s and stuff a lot. They've got Halo, Sea of Thieves, Indiana Jones, and Flight Sim, and then one that's like an Xbox with all of them. And they look pretty cool. I just don't want to go.
It reminds me of McDonald's. I don't know if they had it in the US, but in the UK we had the McDonald's Coca-Cola campaign, and you would collect these. They would hold exactly one can of Coca-Cola, Coke glasses. Like the old school Coke glasses.
Mm-hmm.
They were like mini ones, and they're all different colors, and you could collect them. It reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah,
They do look fancy.
I wish we were on their list to get things like this. Send us the influencer package. We'll influence ourselves into saying, "Look, cups."
Ooh,
I'll drink from them.
Come on, Microsoft.
Yeah, I will use them as a drinking vessel.
That's cool though. There you go. Enjoy America.
Thank you. I will. Probably
next up, as we wrap things up, hey, remember that Grand Theft Auto trilogy that launched and was awful and really bad? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, Rockstar have fixed it all and removed any trace of the previous developer being mentioned on it at all, which I found hilarious and amusing.
Yeah.
So it's 3 years later. It's been significantly improved, and the original devs, which I think were what were they called? What were they called? I can't even remember their name, but they're no longer in the credits at all. So yeah, there you go. They've been erased from existence. I can't even remember their name now. But it's got new lighting, new fog, rain, fire, glass breaking effects across the board. So this is
they killed the mood of the games in that original release. It was so
yes, they did.
Dead looking. It was just like all the lighting was gone. Like, man, it was
ugly.
It was rough. Yeah.
But yeah, it's fixed now. So if you're intrigued by those things, you want to go give them a go, have at it now, I guess. I think that's about it. There was a couple of other bits and pieces from memory, but nothing too terrifying or urgent.
The animations getting fixed was also a nice thing. As a third-person game, having just look really weird when you were running and shooting, that's definitely nice. It would have me more interested in ever going back to them. Also, I really wish the GTA San Andreas MetaQuest VR version had become a thing. They announced it, but then I think it died. Haven't heard a word. You want to do the quiz real quick?
Yeah, let's do the quiz.
All right. Boopity boop. What is an Xbox? Skip quiz. Oh, I will have 10. I'm only going to have 10 seconds to answer each question. So I will,
you're able to present it. You're not able to present it here, are you? Because it will
no,
break
because it would break
so
everything.
I can't see.
No. So I'll read it real quick. All right. Is this an Xbox? It's a Series X. Yes or no?
Yes, it is an Xbox.
Okay, that is. A laptop. Yes or no?
Yes, it is.
All right. A cat carrier with a cat in it.
No, that's not an Xbox.
All right. Phone.
Yes, it can also be an Xbox.
All right. Series S.
Yeah, that's an Xbox too.
Bento box.
Not an Xbox, I'm afraid.
Okay. TV. Smart TV.
Yeah, that can be an Xbox if you own a Samsung. An LG soon too, I think.
Handheld gaming system.
That can also be an Xbox. Oh my god, I'm really good at this.
MetaQuest 3.
Can also be an Xbox.
Amazon
Wow.
Fire Stick and controller.
How did I know this? It is also an Xbox.
Oh, okay.
I feel I've aced this.
Are you viewing this
right?
on an Xbox? No.
Yes, we are.
No,
we are viewing it on an
not.
Xbox.
I'm viewing it through
You're-
OBS. OBS isn't an Xbox.
No, come on. You got to
Too
say
late.
yes because that's what they want you to.
No, I chose new. Damn it. Yeah, that was a wrong one.
Oh god damn it!
Shit. Well, there you go.
I told you it was an Xbox.
If I looked up, it's an Xbox, but I was looking at OBS. OBS is not an Xbox. I can't.
It was being powered by an Xbox.
Shit.
Come on.
Okay, fine.
Wait, if everything's an Xbox, can we start adding phone sales, VR headsets?
They can. They can. They
right,
already
and then
do.
they can
They
just say,
call
hey,
them.
we've sold 800 million Xboxes this year.
They changed all of their metrics to MAUs, aka anyone using an Xbox ecosystem. So they have already done that.
Wow. Well, there you go.
We almost
That's
nailed it.
Yeah.
John gave me
Well, I
one
feel
wrong
like you
answer at the end. Sorry.
You deliberately sabotaged us at the end. I don't know why you did that. It's very, very violent of you.
I was in OBS.
But there you go. That's it. That's all the news. Pleasure hanging out with everybody as always. I hope you have enjoyed our regular headlines show. If you really enjoy it and you're not currently a YouTube member or a Patreon subscriber, please consider becoming the latter. We don't like harping on about it, but we also like to eat food and pay our bills. So head over to patreon.com/XboxEra and become part of the Cool Kids Club community. There's all sorts of perks. Yesterday, I gave just our patrons lovely new backgrounds for their PCs by building stuff in Tiny Glade. So, you could have that right now if you're a Patreon member. But if you ain't,
I see Reservoir
be
Doug
back.
saying the cat should have been an Xbox. Now, for John, the cat box is a very different thing. All right, it's the end of the show. Let's go.
Yeah, okay. It is the end of the show. My kids are coming back soon and I've got to cook dinner. But before that, I'm going to quickly type out this Avowed Special Edition YouTube video.
Go.
But we'll see you on Saturday for the usual podcast shenanigans. Remember, it starts an hour earlier than usual at
For
10 p.m.
5
UK
months
time.
or so.
5 p.m. I'm just going to try and make it stay that way forever because it's just better for me.
But then Nick just makes the show longer.
Yeah, but Nick can just get up earlier. That's my attitude. Anyways, be good to each other. Play video games. Have some fun. We'll see you in the chat, in the forums, in our Discord, and we'll see you on Saturday night. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying the stairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word, she can get what she came for. And she's buying the stairway to heaven. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, 'cause sometimes words have two meanings. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven. Ooh, it makes me wonder. Ooh, it makes me wonder. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. In my thoughts I have seen rings of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand looking. Ooh, it makes me wonder. Ooh, it makes me wonder. And it's whispered that soon, if we all